This is Steve Bryant at Nationwide's PrimeTime in Houston, and we're with Mr. Frank Sandtner. He's with the Business Services and Financial Services Division of Nationwide. Welcome, Frank.
Well, thanks. It's
you
great
having a
to
good
be
show?
here. Great show so far, and I really appreciate the time to speak to you.
Good deal. Well, there's so much going on, and we hear everything is going on in technology and changing, and marketing and changing, but retail credit's changing too. There's a lot going on with today's technology that's changing the application process and those kinds of things. What should members look for?
Well, taking an application is actually involves several steps. Traditionally, it was a paper application process that we have to be filled out and then rekeyed into a system, and a code comes back for approval. And what we've decided that needed to happen, and work with our financial services partners, namely, in this case, Wells Fargo, is making it extremely simple. So imagine if the consumer was able to fill out the application process on their own phone while they're in the store, so they don't have any fear that their personal information is being compromised in any way. They're not leaving behind a piece of paper that has their social security number on it, nor are they filling out anything on somebody else's device. That is going to drive the best behavior in terms of use of retail credit, and the greater use of retail credit provides tremendous benefits to the retailers in terms of the average ticket size. So that technology, which is called text to apply, is really being demonstrated here by the Wells Fargo team, and will be rolling out for select members initially, but then more broadly to all the members as all the issues are worked out. We are very excited at what that technology will do for the retail credit business.
It's interesting. Well, I was going down the aisle and I saw Synchrony Home, and there's some buzz around it, but I'm not sure what it's about. What's going on with Synchrony Home?
Yeah, Synchrony Home is started off as kind of an idea that's morphed into something very, very big with Synchrony. The idea is that if you have a Synchrony card, that let's say you bought jewelry for your wife and you have a Synchrony card for that Synchrony card can now be used in our retailer stores. So you could have applied for credit for Synchrony through a whole bunch of different retail establishments in the kind of home area, and all of those cards can now be used at our retailer stores. So what we are, and this launched about a year ago. Now it's time to see the results of something like that. And we're pleased that in 2019, there was just short of $42 million in sales that were generated by people who brought in a card that they got from somewhere else and spent money at our retail stores. That is a big, big deal. And if you go to the booth, you will be able to find out for your particular store exactly how much volume you picked up. Now, interestingly, I was just talking to Lady Renee, who's represented in the Inc. magazine. She was a pillar winner for Synchrony, and she said, I live in a small town, there's only 200 people that live here, or 200 households, and there's no way that I picked up any volume from Synchrony Home. This is just not possible. She just went over there, they ran the numbers, and she picked up $6,500 in incremental sales in 2019 based on Synchrony Home. How great is that?
That's amazing. That's
a member benefit.
That's very interesting. It truly is. Well, of course, members, in order to have what the consumer needs when they need it, inventory finance is an important part of a lot of folks' merchandising strategy. Now, we do business with various inventory finance companies. What's the best strategy? Should you have multiple? Should you have one? What should a member think about when they think about inventory finance?
That's a great question. It's something that is really in our DNA, is to make sure that we, first of all, have multiple options for retailer. Because inventory finance is something, if you don't have financing, you're probably going to go out of business. You have to have enough eligible financing to stock your floor. And what we brought in two providers, Wells Fargo and North Point. And North Point is kind of the new entrant. What we do recommend is that retailers consider using more than one provider. That way, if something happens with one of their providers, they have the other provider, that line of credit that they can use to make their purchases. What we have at this show, which is a big, big deal, is that North Point has signed an agreement with GE Appliances, and starting in March, a retailer will be able to use North Point as their inventory finance provider for GE appliance purchases, which is a big deal.
It's excellent. It is. We had earlier another member of your team was here. And he was talking about insurance, and of course, the familiar Aflac duck logo is on the show floor. And I was just curious, how does that tie in with our current insurance offering?
Aflac is a new provider, as you stated, and it's really it either complements or supplements insurance that you have. So if you don't have insurance, you could use Aflac. If you have insurance, you can use Aflac. Aflac basically pays somebody for any type of injury or any type of issue that prevents them from earning income. So the traditional case is where somebody is a service technician and they break their leg, they're unable to work, they have a medical bill because they have to go to the hospital, and they don't have any income because they can't work. Well, Aflac would pay, generally something like that would be, they pay $5,000. So there's no need for, it's independent of which doctor you went to, what the actual expense was for that medical assistance. They pay a flat amount to you. It is a great benefit to offer to a retailer's employees. I mean, it's a great retention tool and something that help keep people employed.
And there's a group negotiated program.
There's a group program that provides some benefits. The pricing for Aflac is the same anywhere in the country. The differentiation is that the nationwide program has some additional features, one of them called Teledoc, that you get at no additional charge for your employees, provided you have at least 3 people sign up. So you get 3 people to sign up for Aflac, and you get the Teledoc for all your employees, which is basically a way to call and get medical assistance over the phone with a doctor. They can prescribe medicines and all that sort of thing. So it's a fantastic opportunity for our retailers, especially at a time when everybody's real sensitive to retaining employees.
Right. Yeah, it's we were talking earlier about Epic Protect, which is the extended service plan that is the group managed plan for major appliances, consumer electronics. Mm-hmm. But there's also a product protection plan strategy for furniture, correct?
There sure is, absolutely.
What's involved in that program?
Well, in the area of furniture is a big part of Nationwide, as you well know. And we recognize that in that space, we also, like in many other spaces, need multiple providers, because somebody may have had a bad experience with one or have other issues with one. And so we have had the Guardsman program for many years. We also have a program called Life Proof that we've had for several years. And in looking at the marketplace and understanding the dynamics of our membership, we decided that we wanted to add Montage as a third provider. And they're here at the show, and we're really excited to announce them as a new vendor. They have a rebate program, a VR program that applies to Nationwide members. It's at least 2 percentage points of VR, but there's the opportunity, if they sign up here at the show, to get an additional percentage point for this year. So it is just a fantastic offering. Their prices for service contracts are competitive, and there's a VR. You gotta love that. And then also that if you're an existing customer of theirs, you can switch to the Nationwide program and then take the advantage of the VR that you're currently not getting.
Excellent. Well, it's I know we're winding toward the end of day one of the show, and the good news is we have thousands of folks here. As always, there's thousands of folks who aren't here, who are members of Nationwide. If you were talking to those folks, what are the advantages that they're missing out on, and what are the advantages that they can take advantage of when they join us at the August show in Las Vegas?
Well, interesting, because we've had kind of this discussion with a few people, and to understand the benefit of being able to go down this aisle right behind you, and in, next to each other, all the financial services providers and business services providers, to be able to talk to the person, the key decision maker at those companies, and find out side by side, ask your questions. You could learn more about the things you need to do by just going down any one of these aisles. Imagine all the aisles that we have. We have so many services for the retailers to take advantage of. Every one of them we pick based on benefit to the member. That's all we do, is create programs that provide benefits to members, and a lot of those benefits come in understanding the programs. Okay, so Dispatch Track launches a new feature. You could learn about that here. Cornerstone Credit right behind. You didn't know that they were one of the least owned providers for Nationwide. You want to understand what is their program like. They're right there behind you. And list goes on and on. I mean, before somebody comes to the show, their best bet is to figure out the vendors they want to talk to, pay attention to what our must-sees are that we kind of just spoke about, and then spend the time going to those vendors, gaining that knowledge. They could end up saving tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars by just learning about the options, either in additional revenue or reduced costs, by speaking to these providers.
Excellent. Well, we're excited about the rest of the show. We're looking forward to it. We thank you for making time to come by and visit with us. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Steve.
Again,
always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Again, this is Steve Bryant at Nationwide's PrimeTime in Houston, Texas, and we're out of here.